HBL PSL 10 season for the Karachi Kings. Superb victories.
What a victory! New captain David Warner is absolutely elated with that.
Have been followed by defeats, which leaves them at 1-3, lost 3, but right in the hunt for a playoff place. Multan Sultans, on the other hand, continue to suffer heavy defeats, none worse than last time out against the Quetta Gladiators.
This is the biggest defeat ever in HBL PSL history in terms of balls remaining.
Which team will come out on top today? Can Karachi strengthen their position, or can Multan turn it around and go on a run of their own? Yeah, the heat is certainly on the Multan Sultans tonight. They desperately need a win today to make sure they stay alive in the playoffs. They're taking on the Karachi Kings in match number 20 of the HBL Pakistan Super League Season 10. A very warm welcome to the Pitchside studio, and when I say warm, I truly mean it at the moment. Sweltering hot conditions here at Gaddafi Stadium, about 38 degrees, feels like 45. I've had to pay my guests overtime to come and join me down here. Lisa Stileka, Sikandar Bakht. Are you glad you're retired now, Lisa? It's pretty hot out here.
This is like a normal Australian day. I don't know what you're worried about. We don't even have to go out there and play.
I tell you what, I'm glad I'm not a player today, Sikandar. Pretty hot and oppressive conditions. First day game here in Lahore. What do you think that does to people's thoughts and processes heading into the toss?
Well, I guess, it's a first day game, so and it's a brand new pitch. It really is anybody's game. Yes, the weather will test the players out there, but they're pretty much used to these conditions. They play around the world, so I don't think that will be a factor that will be worrying them. It's more about how they go out there and what 11 they can bring in, especially Multan Sultans, who are in big trouble at the moment.
They absolutely are. The heat is certainly on the Multan Sultans. Looking at the points table, just seeing exactly where we stand heading into today's game, Lisa. And, Multan, considering they've been in the finals for 4 years in a row, they find themselves dead last. They need to win. Yeah,
they do need to win, otherwise their campaign for this HBL PSL will be over. For Karachi Kings, they've won, lost. They'd love to come back and win, especially after their last performance where they just couldn't get over the line, chasing a modest total of 140 odd.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy season for Karachi Kings, has to be said. Sikandar, definitely a better showing than last season, but it doesn't really feel like they've settled on that playing 11 and settled into their form just yet.
If you talk about Karachi Kings, like Lisa said, they've been hot and cold. Heavy reliance on their top 3 overseas batters. Somebody from the local batters, they need to step up and perform, especially because they don't have the job of the finishers. They still seem indecisive about Shan Masood or no Shan Masood in their 11, and they really got to make up their mind because they're getting to the business end and they're doing pretty well. They're somewhere in the center of that table. And if they can find that perfect 11 for themselves, I think then they'll be on track. But yeah, surely you're right. They're a little better than what we've seen of them in the last 2 seasons.
How much of an impact do you think David Warner's had on this side as well, Lise?
Yeah, probably from his own individual performances, not as well as he would have liked. The only 60 odd and then everything pretty in the low scoring. I wonder if Kane Williamson is someone who potentially could come in and replace one of the overseas players. But I agree, local talent, local players will actually win games.
A pretty hard side to try and force your way into at the moment. I think the toss is just about ready. They're out in the middle. Very oppressive conditions, as we said here. Almost 40 degrees. I'm sure a lot of the bowlers will be hoping that, they win the toss, maybe let them sit it out and wait until the weather gets a little bit cooler, but no need to ponder anymore. It looks like the toss is finally ready. Let's welcome Ambassador Khan, who's standing by with the 2 captains.
Lahore certainly turned up the heat. It is sweltering. A day game here, and we got the 2 captains, Multan Sultans, Mohammad Rizwan, David Warner, Karachi Kings. Match referee, the dapper Ali Naqvi, and a very cute mascot, Mohammad Usman, who, by the way, isn't sporting any of you, so he's neutral. Right, you've got the coin, Rizwan?
Tails.
Oh, nice one.
We'll bat first.
Tails it is. David won the toss. What are you doing and why?
We're going to have a bat first. We think it's going to, be a nice surface for the 40 overs that are going to be out here today. But I think here, if we can put runs on the board and post a good total, we'll have something to defend.
Is that anything to do with the heat, or is just the conditions with the pitch?
Yeah, look, I think I'm a bowler's captain, so I like to look after him a fair bit. But look, it looks like a nice even coverage of grass. I don't think it will do too much during the day. It'll be a little bit different tonight, I reckon.
Your teams that have blown hot and cold, you've won one, lost one, won one. What do you think is the actual thing that you've got to work at?
Well, fingers crossed that it keeps following that suit. But for us, it's playing a complete game. That's with the bat and ball, especially in the first 6. Our bowlers have been fantastic, but through the middle period, our batsmen, we just haven't been as positive as I like. So hopefully today we can come out and do that.
Any changes to your side?
Yeah, Niazi's back in for Shan, and Hassan Ali's out with a little slight quad.
Thank you very much. Good luck for the game. रिजवान पहले बॉलिंग करनी पड़ेगी इस गर्मी में, परेशानी तो नहीं?
नहीं बजीद भाई, मेरे ख्याल से कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है। पिच मेरे ख्याल सेम ही रहेगा, अगर कोई थोड़ा डिफरेंट हो गया बाद में, मगर हम भी थोड़ा सा डिज़ाइन में यही था, और अच्छी क्रिकेट खेलनी पड़ेगी मेरे ख्याल से।
बिल्कुल बात ठीक है आपकी। अब ज़ाहिर है इससे बात तो कोई ज़्यादा मौका नहीं है। ये बताएं कि पिच और आपकी टीम, उसमें क्या डिफरेंस है आज?
एक चेंज किया हुआ है, सीजे को अंदर लाया है, क्योंकि शायद रिवर्स का थोड़ा सा चांस हो हमारे पास, और बाकी जो अभी भी सबको यही लग रहा है कि शायद टेबल से हम अभी डिपेंड किसी और टीमों पे आ गया है, ये कि हमारे हाथों से चीज़ें निकल गई है कि हम 3 जीतेंगे, 3 हारेंगे, मगर बहरहाल वो अल्लाह के काम है, हमारे हम नहीं। हमारे अल्लाह पाक ने जिस चीज़ के इख्तियार की कोशिश करेंगे वो अच्छा करेंगे, तो इस तरह हमारी बॉलिंग की कोशिश करेंगे कि बहुत अच्छी बॉलिंग करें, जो हमने पहले से प्लान किए हुए थे।
ये बताएं कि आज कीपिंग करेंगे?
नहीं, फिलहाल उस्मान ही करेगा, क्योंकि उस्मान थोड़ा सा उसको कोशिश करे कि वो खुद चाह रहा है कि मैं कीपिंग करूँ।
चलें, thank you very much and good luck for the game. So,
thank you.
The news out here in the centre is that Karachi Kings have won the toss and they're having a bat.
David Warner electing to look after his bowlers, he says. Secunda, let's walk through the playing 11 for Karachi.
Well, Umair Yusuf is one name that they are looking to, add in there, and that is the replacement for Shan Masood. Irfan Niazi comes back with Amir Jamal. Irfan is someone who's actually their finisher, and like we, mentioned earlier, Khushdil, Irfan, and Nabi, they need to step up and do that finishing job. I would like Nabi to come up in the order. He's got more experience, especially when he comes in a little early and he has to deal with the spinners.
2 changes for Karachi. Moving on to the Multan Sultans, Lise.
Yeah, and we've mentioned the fact that they really do need to win this game, otherwise they're out. Chris Jordan comes back in. They've pretty much rotated the bowlers. I guess from my point of view, it's been their bowling department that has certainly struggled. They've leaked lots of runs, over 10 runs and over. So Ubaid Shah has been really the standout from my mind. And then the top order have to fire if they're a chance.
Certainly had some epic encounters when these two sides are concerned, but how do they stack up in terms of head-to-head? Let's take a little look at the history. Well, Multan Sultans have been such a strong side for so many years, but looking at the head-to-head when these two sides come to meet, overall even Stephen Secunda, but in the last 8 matches, it's been all the Multan Sultans' way. 6-2.
Yeah, that's because of the last 2 seasons how Karachi has been. They haven't really had any matches coming their way. So Multan has been very consistent. They've got 4 finals to their name. It's just very different Multan this year. But otherwise, they are the usual suspects. You have to have them in the playoffs.
Yes, certainly an epic contest to look forward to. Multan Sultans will need to do everything they can to stay alive against Karachi Kings. Off to a very short breather here, which we absolutely need in the Pitchside studio. But on the other side, we're going to check out the 22 yards. Well, it's the first day game here in Lahore, a very hot day of 38 degrees. I wonder what that does to the captain's thoughts in terms of the pitch. Well, David Warner winning the toss, electing to bat first. Lisa Slake has been a very busy lady. We sent her out to the middle alongside Aruj Mumtaz Khan for a pitch report.
hot and sweltering in Lahore, 38 degrees, and I don't think that's going to change considering this is the first and only day game at this year's HBL PSL. One thing that has changed is the surface. Brand new surface, hasn't been used since the Champions Trophy. Last game here had a lot of runs on it. It was Australia. They took on England, chased down 351 quite comfortably. Well, what I make of this, it looks a lot Pakistani that we're used to. Let's bring the Aussie in. Come on, Lisa. You've had a good look. What do you think?
Yeah, well, we know that across this whole block that there's been plenty of live grass, and I look at that and you can see some cracks and live grass, but I think it actually played really well. We know the average score here in Lahore is 156. Now, there's been a couple of high games and there's been a couple of low games. I still think that whoever wins the toss should actually bat. That goes against what everyone has done at night games. But what fascinates me the most, Sarouj, is this little square that's been cut out. Now, you've done a little bit of a reconnaissance and you found out a little bit more about this.
Yeah, I spoke to Tony Hemming just around the corner, chief curator here. Obviously, they had to cut a dead patch out. So what they've done is they've done squares from the same strip. So it should behave quite nicely. The groundsmen have been watering the clay content so it gels in together. But you're right, Lisa, it's at that. It's just interesting. It just puts them off. You mentioned batting first. Now, I mentioned runs on this surface, 351. Do you think spin might come in? Maybe Osama, the leg spinner?
Maybe. We know that the spinners haven't been as successful as the pace bowlers here in Lahore, but I do think it's it's a pitch where you need to get 180, 190 plus. But these two teams are desperate for a victory.
Well, they're desperate if they are. 180 plus is what Lisa Staleka says. Reckon the pitch has runs in it as well.
A beautiful batting track, say the ladies out in the middle. Lisa, that little square in the middle, though, is that going to be a mental block for the batters, do you think?
No, look, I think certainly it's out of the equation for the fast bowlers. For spinners and a left-handed bat, I think it will certainly come into play. I think it's just going to be in their periphery. So I don't think it's going to do anything untoward, but I think it'll just be in the back of the players' minds and they've just got to get over it.
All the mind games as well. And look, both sides have a few battle scarves to try and contend with. Multan Sultans and Karachi Kings. Well, the last time these two sides met, it was an absolute run fest in Karachi. 235 was chased down by the Kings in the end in the 19.2 over. And James Vince, the main destroyer there, 101 off 43 rocks there, supported by Kushtil Shah in the middle, and Tim Seifert was great up the top with David Warner. Still yet to see him fire. If he does today, well, could be another big score on the cards. But, you know, Karachi Kings winning that one by 4 wickets, Secunda. How important do you think the likes of James Vince is going to be today, particularly with Multan? We've already seen him make a big score against the Multan Sultans.
Well, James Vince, of course, he is an integral part of that batting lineup, and they are heavily dependent on him, even if they don't say that. And you see it every time when he performs. I'm not talking about bringing in 100 every time, but it's just that he has to bring in that stability. Number 3, such an important position. He sort of sets that platform, that foundation that Karachi Kings needs, even if they're chasing or putting up a score batting first. And it's not going to be any different today. They will depend on him and Seifert.
You can see that his ability to access all parts of the ground is pretty dynamic, and that's why he's a wonderful white ball player, because they genuinely love someone who can hit 360 degrees, and that's exactly what James Vince does. However, he's not the only batter in that side, so everyone else does need to play their role.
Absolutely, and if they get off to a great power play and we finally see David Warner fire, I mean, anything could happen for them in terms of putting on a big scoreboard total for the Multan Sultans to try and contend to. But let's take a little look at the best batters in the tournament so far, because it actually is a man on the other side today who leads that. And I'm talking about Mohammad Rizwan. He's been brilliant with the ball once again, Secunda. 346 runs. He sits some 80 odd ahead of Fakhar Zaman in second.
See, numbers can be so deceiving. You know, you're on the losing side and you're the top scorer. I really hope at the end of the tournament it goes to someone who has scored in the cause of winning. That's the most important part. Rizwan surely has performed well. I mean, he's batted 20 overs. There might be a few questions about that particular innings of his, but he is a consistent performer as far as individual, outing goes.
There's been times where wickets were falling around, and I think Mohammad Rizwan kind of felt I need to stay there. If he can if he can remember this innings against Karachi Kings, he came out of the blocks really hard, which is probably something that we haven't seen throughout the rest of the tournament.
Is it a tactical thing then from a batting partner perspective then as well? Someone that sticks and goes with him, or because he tends to accelerate in the back end of his innings quite exponentially versus the first, say, 20 balls?
Yeah, I guess the real question is that in T20 cricket around the world, you need your openers not to be striking 120, they need to be striking 140. And that's the real questions when it comes to Mohammad Rizwan. But I understand the predicament when you're losing wickets the other end. You think your job is just to stay there, but you've still got to go hard.
Oh, 100%. And they absolutely need a massive score today if they're going to, try and be able to unsettle the Karachi Kings. Gosh knows what they'll be chasing after that international top order of Karachi Kings gets going. But I think let's go to our expert prediction and see who they really think will take the chocolates tonight. Oh, have it there. It is a day game, of course, which does throw a few little spanners into the works. But, what are we thinking? Who comes out on top?
I think Karachi Kings, given that they've won the toss, elected to bat, they'll post a decent total. And Multan Sultans, too many battle scars to chase it down.
Are you in agreement with that?
I'll go with the law of averages. Win, loss, win, loss, win.
I love that. They're consistent, if nothing else. That was our expert prediction of the day. Got a brand new wicket to look forward to today as well. And one thing that was interesting as well, Lisa, just before we head to the break, a good length has been the hardest to navigate as a batter, and that's been the Sultans' weakest point.
Yeah. They've struggled with that back of a length and probably the pace. Anything around that 140 mark, it has troubled them a lot, especially their top order. So I would imagine that Karachi Kings have actually done their homework and been able to really look at and assess the lines and the lengths that they need to execute. And if they can pick up a couple of wickets in the power play, like they've been able to against a lot of the other oppositions, then it'll be a successful day for them.
And it's so important. You could see that bat shot selection from Multan on that pitch, which was an Australia-like pitch, playing everything in the wee, trying to do that and losing their wickets, and was corrected so nicely by Saud Shakil later on.
Oh, game on here. Ball one is on the other side of this very short break. Cannot wait to see what happens. Do or die for the Multan Sultans.